Hi, it's David Mecey, and I'd like to talk to you about how I did one of my photo shoots for our May issue of Mecey magazine, that being the one We Are Sparta, which is where I made Malia basically into a Spartan warrior, or a female version of King Leonidas, from the movie 300 starring Gerard Butler. We shot it outside Las Vegas, out in the desert, and the stills that you're going to see were done by my two assistants, Pete Smith and Brian Crum. So as I walk you through it, I will talk to you about how we did it. You'll notice that I'm looking at the back of my camera with a small device that's called a Hoodman. It allows you to be able to see your LED screen in bright sunlight. I've used one for years, and I think it's a great device to have for anyone shooting outdoors and trying to look at the images on the back of your screen. I'm shooting with my Canon 5D Mark IV along with the 70-200 f2.8 lens this day. And if you'll notice, I'm also sitting in a nice director's chair that was a gift from one of my assistants, Pete Smith, which came in really handy that day, by the way. And I advise when you do shoot on location, be as comfortable as possible. You'll notice also the bottle of water. We were shooting in the desert. It was about 105 the day that we shot. So having a lot of water is a positive, and be sure to bring a ton of it when you're shooting out on location. As you will note, I have my light, which is a battery-powered strobe, on a C-stand. Yes, C-stands are heavy, but great for shooting on location. At the base, there is a sandbag. Halfway up, a roll of gaff tape. Always have that around. If you'll notice, the strobe itself is wrapped in a white towel. Due to the fact it was 105 degrees that day, by wrapping it with a white towel, kept the unit cool. It never misfired once. I'm using an open reflector on the front of the strobe, and over that, a sheet of warming gel to keep the light warm to mimic the color of the sun that day. I also have it back a good distance to be able to allow it to illuminate her from head to toe. In this photograph, you can just see how far back I am from my subject. The reason is I can use the longest focal length on my lens. And due to the fact that the backdrop, or the mountains in the distance, were a good half-mile to a mile away, even at the f-stop that I was shooting, which is f14, it's still out of focus. Also, it gives me a compression effect using the longer focal length. In this photograph, you can see how I have the strobe set in relation to where my subject is and to where my position is photographing her. I have it sitting slightly off axis to the left on the shadow side of her body. I only want the light to lessen the shadow on her, not to take it away completely. And that's the reason I have it in that position. So the final result, after taking it into Photoshop, by the way, I also used a filter called exposure to give me the kind of sepia look to the final shot that mimicked the look of what they did in the movie 300.